Hey everyone, how's it going? Today I'm with Larry from Larry's Library. How you doing, Larry?
Good. Go with you.
Pretty good. It's pretty early over here in Japan on a Sunday morning. I think it's 6:30 a.m. So if my voice
Wow.
is a little froggy, that's why. Um, so
You're up
let's just
early.
yeah. But that's what we got to do to be able to you know make sure that we can I can connect with people back in the States and North America or wherever else. Just show
You're
a few
you're in
comments.
you're in Osaka. Is that right?
That's right. I'm in Osaka. Hello, Eriko. And Eriko's in Canada. And we got David, Garage Geek is here. Where are the YouTube Titans? And just watched Marvel Zombies. All right.
I'm gonna watch it. I haven't watched it yet, but
And apparently you know more than the Shadow. And the Shadow
about
knows.
that.
So all right. Well, thank you guys for joining. I'm glad we have a couple people here anyway. And Larry, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about your channel. First, kind of what got you started thinking about creating a YouTube channel, and when did you start? I think you've been on at least 2 years, 3 years. How long have you had your channel?
I think it was 22 when I started uploading. The channel is actually, man, I think it goes back to, or not the channel, but my account goes back to like 2001.
Yeah.
But I didn't actually do any content till like 22, I think. But mainly it's because I've always been a YouTube junkie. I subscribe to a lot of channels and I watch just an incredible amount of YouTube. And after a while, I thought, I'm in kind of a unique position, or at least I thought I was at the time when I conceived of it, was that I was much older than a lot of comic YouTubers.
All
And I've
right.
been reading comics since like 1978, 10 years old. So I thought, I thought I had kind of a unique perspective that, maybe wasn't as represented as it could be. I mean, I've since found a lot of older YouTubers that are also into comics, so maybe it wasn't that unique.
Well, you were probably at the time, maybe, I don't know, but yeah, it seems like a lot of
Yeah.
the guys that David talks to, including yourself and Sleepy Reader, and that are kind of in the similar age bracket. I don't know how old Sleepy is, but he's probably in the our range anyway. Because I know
Yeah.
you're almost my age. You're almost as old as me. So
Yep.
uh, we got Connor here from Australia. Morning, Connor. How you doing?
Awesome.
And oh, we got some comments from Dave. David's throwing the comments in there, sporting the black cap, looking sleek.
But never sleek, never sleek.
Get your butt up and love it. Okay. Somebody's a little hyper this morning. Okay. Or I should say this afternoon where you guys are. I think it's 1:30 where David is. Well,
Where's the adrenaline coming from? What has he been doing? What?
I don't know. He said he was going out somewhere to do something. So maybe he's high on adrenaline from the Marvel Zombies. I don't know. Larry, I wanted to ask, speaking of that, you said you got into comics in 1978. You want to talk a little bit about your formative comics reading years, and some of the first titles that took your fancy and your memories about that?
I have two distinct memories of my first comic, so I don't know which one is correct. I've tried to place them with era, but uh, one early one I have is where I was. My dad took me fishing, and I wasn't much of a fisherman, but we went down to the bait shop. It was like a pay lake, right? And they
Oh,
had a
right.
spinner rack. They had a spinner rack, and Commandy, one of the later issues, right after Kirby left, it had a Joe Kubert cover. It was the one where he's got his hands up to the glass. He's like in a fishbowl.
I
I
think
know
I've
you
seen
probably
it.
seen that cover.
That sounds really familiar.
Yeah, and I talked him into getting me that comic, which wasn't hard, and so that was one of my very earliest ones. And then the other memory I have is probably the Marvel 2-in-1 Werewolf by Night, or no, it was the Moon Knight, one of the first Moon Knight appearance. And but I think when I got it, it was already, like in the 10-cent box.
Really? Wow.
So I can't really place the year.
I wasn't that familiar with Moon Knight until the Disney show came out, and I didn't watch the show, but I just heard that it wasn't what a lot of fans hoped for. But I didn't know Moon Knight had started quite that early. Was it earlier 70s when it started?
Yeah, he goes way back to like I think 75, something like that. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people like the TV series, but then a lot of older guys like me probably were really disappointed because it was based more on like the current iteration than the classic one that I know and love. I think I lost you.
More. Yeah, sorry, Larry. Can you hear me now?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like a lot of shows today, it was really focused on mental health and the mental health of the protagonist and such, but it seemed a little less comic booky than from what I mean. I watched some clips.
Well, Moon Knight was a unique character in that he had like 6 personalities, 6 identities, 5 or 6. I don't know. I forget. There were so many, but so he did have some mental problems in the original books, even.
There goes Larry. Yeah, well, was it Larry that was lost, or was it me that was lost? I guess it depends on the side, but yeah. Well, I wonder why they didn't do the 6 or 5 or 6 different personalities. Maybe they thought that was too ambitious for people to follow.
I think they showed 3 of them. So, like I said, it's based more on the current iteration of the character. Yeah.
I mean, I think the character look and all that, they caught that on the TV show well. It was pretty cool, but
yeah, it wasn't bad.
I think also some of the mythology was a bit much for some people from what I was talking to. But then I was talking to kind of regular people, not really comic guys, more comic book movie guys. So, okay, so you got. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Larry.
I didn't hate it. I just was disappointed that it wasn't really my Moon Knight.
Yeah, I know that's very normal. I think.
Yeah.
What do you think of from your point of view? What are some of the better comic book movie adaptations that you've seen as far as fidelity to source or whatever?
I still think that the very, arguably the first Marvel one, the first big one, Iron Man, the first one, I don't think that can be beat. That was so true to the comic book.
That is
just
a great
spot
movie.
on. And I like the Avengers stuff too, and the Captain America. I like most of them really. So
I like most of the first couple phases. I haven't been bothering much with the recent phases, and I love the Guardians too. The Guardians just kind of speaks to me, although I don't think it's particularly faithful to the comic or anything, probably. But as a movie itself, because I didn't have any experience with the comic book of the Guardians of the Galaxy, other than in very vague, having heard of it and such. But
yeah, they changed it a lot, but they made it really fun. They were really fun to watch for sure.
David's bringing up the Netflix shows, and Jessica Jones is all right. I thought Daredevil was really good, and I loved The Punisher. The Punisher was great.
We're in agreement there. And Garage Geek is right. Jessica Jones, man, that's actually, I would probably rank it as high as Iron Man for me. It was so true to the character and just perfect.
I don't like the character much, but I did like.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
I didn't really like the way was it Kristen Ritter. She was fine. I thought it was a good show, and David Tennant killed it as what was the bad guy's name? I forgot his name. Anyway, I even liked the first Iron Fist, which a lot of people hated. So
Yeah, I liked it too.
Moon Knight's the character I first really got into, says Connor. Got a bunch of the old stuff in the bottom run, Charlie Houston, which I thought was really good.
Yeah, I like that one too. Yeah, Charlie Houston really nailed it.
Well, I think, Larry, that's one of your favorite books, if I recall, right? So when you were going through the Desert Island
that
books,
first Moon Knight run, and then
I was really surprised by that because that's one that doesn't get talked about a lot. Yeah, Purple Man, but I thought he had a name, his regular name. I forgot what it was, but yes, he was the purple guy. David Tennant was really scary in that, and he's such a lovely guy in real life. So it was fun to see him play a really evil SOB.
Oh man, storyline, they did it so well too. That's just like in the comic, because that is really an adult comic. That was on the Marvel Max imprint, if I remember right. So it was very similar.
What do you think of some of the recent ones that Marvel's been putting out?
I have to admit, I've fallen behind. They they're churning them out so fast now,
I think they finally put the brakes on a little bit, and
yeah, I think they kind of needed to.
Now they have I forgot the brother's name. Dang it, it's escaping me. The guys who did the Avengers, they did Civil War and the other Avengers movies. They're really good. They did Infinity and Endgame, but they're doing. Brothers? Yes. Sorry, what?
Duffer, is that?
No, the Duffer or the Stranger Things guys.
Yeah.
No, I think they are doing something, but no, it's the guys who did. Oh, what was their name? Dang it. Anyway, they seem to get how to make a pretty good Avengers movie. So their new Avengers double, they're filming 2 back to back or something now. Apparently, that should be better. But yeah, they just were putting them out too fast and got a little behind. Well, while we're here, since we're talking about Marvel, are you more of a Marvel or a DC guy?
Marvel for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I got sucked in at an early age reading Bullpen Bulletins. The Stan Lee little where he just kind of he always attacked, kind of humorously attacked DC and made it to where it was like an us and them kind of team thing, and I got pulled right into that, and that was my team,
Yeah. Well, I personally have always found Marvel more interesting because I think Marvel has, what Marvel and the movies too do this really well is they capture the heroes really well.
Yeah, and the flawed characters. I think, like Superman always kind of turned me off because he's just kind of perfect boring. Yeah. I know it's unpopular.
I like the Christopher Reeve movie. I haven't seen the new one. I mean, I think that he's a cool character overall, but I just he has a Marvel lighted sign behind him. Hello, yeah, that's true. I didn't see that until just now, David. But anyway, I'm sure you read some DC, of course, because I think like most people, everyone's favorite DC character. Well, I guess a lot of people love Superman, but I think Batman is a kind of universally loved character.
Yeah, I love Batman. I don't really collect it, but I have certain runs that I've bought in collected edition and, that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, Batman is just so cool, and I loved the recent movie, The Batman with Robert Pattinson in character as Batman for like 90% of the movie, being a detective. That's what I really liked about that movie. But
Batman always struck me as a character that should have been a Marvel character,
Yeah, you'd like to co-opt him over, huh?
Yeah, I'll take him, and yeah.
Well, sorry, I kind of interrupted we kind of went off on a digression there, which is fine. But I thought I wanted to get back to your beginnings with his comic. So you're reading the Commandy, and you got the Moon Knight. What else kind of was firing your young imagination? This is, I'm guessing, 10-year-old Larry, or
right around that time, I guess, was not long after that. You had the Shogun Warriors, which was Marvel's licensed title. And you had their Godzilla run, which I loved as a kid, and I still love it today.
I don't remember Shogun Warriors much. I remember Master of Kung Fu, but Shogun Warriors. Wow.
And then, of course, the Fantastic Four and the X-Men, especially the early Byrne stuff, with John Byrne art. That was killer for me. And I guess that was probably popular for most people at the time, but that's what.
Yeah.
And then Thor, of course, and then a couple years later, you got into the Walt Simonson era of Thor, and that was really great,
So I'm guessing at that time it was mostly. I mean, I remember there were some digests and Spider-Man, small pocket, mass market size digests and things, but I'm guessing most of that was single issues you were buying, right?
Yeah.
For the most part.
A few years later, you started seeing trades, but they were really poor quality early on. They were hard to open, and they would want to fall apart on you if you forced it because the binding was so tight. And most of that has went away now. Even on the, the cheaper ones are still pretty good. They'll open up nice, and you can actually read them without destroying the book.
Well, I know you seem like you collect a lot of trades, and I guess most of them, the trade paperback is the more appropriate term than graphic novel, well, I guess.
I prefer hardcovers and the big ones, the omnibuses, the absolutes, and the oversized editions. What I kind of prefer.
Well, it just makes more sense. You're getting a lot more bang for your buck, because if a single issue it's
Yeah,
like $5 and you're an omnibus is
yeah,
60, but you get 20 some issues or whatever in there, it just seems like now is the comic book lover's dream probably right now to be able
it
to
is.
get
I
all
mean, you've got
the.
choices of all kinds of formats, and
Well, I don't know about that there, Erico. I do like Adam West's Batman, although I remember hearing Hans's story about years later waiting to get an autograph from Adam West, and he wanted to charge a lot of extra money, and he didn't want to sign this or that way, and he turned down a little girl to get a picture unless they
oh
paid
wow,
$50 and stuff. So that was a little disappointing, but I think that original movie and series is fun, but it's not my conception of Batman, that's for sure. I think Eric
yeah.
was teasing.
I get another unpopular opinion. I guess I was a weird little kid, but I I did not really like that Batman show because to me it seemed like they was poking fun at the medium that I really loved, and
Yeah, I
I know
think
I was
they
taking it
were.
pretty seriously, I guess, but
I think they were. They think they were doing it with love, but they were definitely poking fun. Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah, but that's okay. That's that. A lot of people love that show, but that
yeah.
campy humor died out quick. I'm with you though. I thought the exact same way. I didn't like that show when I was younger very much. I can appreciate it more now, but
Yeah, I think I would too. More now as a satire, as a parody. But
well, there's just Adam West is so spot on in his deadpan,
yeah, yeah, he was
responses.
something.
Yeah. But it's unfortunate he seems to be a little greedy there in the fan circuit at the end. But I guess if that's your main source of income, then
Yeah,
anyway.
stuff happened.
Okay, well, I didn't know the whole story. So David says that father was forcing the girl to his face. Yeah, but yeah, well, I'm sure fans can be irritating for sure. I don't know. I've just
Yeah,
heard of some celebrities bend over backwards for their fans, and others are dicks. So
not so
I'm
much.
guessing
Yeah.
West is somewhere in between. But no, I heard that he was a nice guy, so to other actors and things. But anyway, we don't need to
Do you
talk too much
remember the
about
first?
him.
I got one for you. Do you remember the first novel or the first kind of adult thing you read?
Oh, probably. Well, I guess it. Maybe hesitant to call it fully adult or whatever, but I remember reading a Tarzan
Like a full
Burroughs
novel,
Tarzan book.
like a book. Yeah.
Well, like not like a chapter book, middle grade thing, but like or YA or whatever, but a full adult. Yeah, I think probably one of the Tarzan books is one of my earliest memories. But I was in like fifth grade or something when I read that. So what?
Yeah,
Mm,
the first one
yeah.
I remember reading, I don't remember much about it, but I remember the title. And a few years ago, I went on a search to try to get a copy of it. And it's called Save the Con. Check this out. I actually
I'll make you big.
found a
Hold on
copy
there.
on eBay.
Let me make you big here. Hold on. There you go.
Okay.
Save the con.
Yeah.
Wow.
See if you can see that. I don't know how you pronounce that writer, but and it turns out it was kind of a YA for the time, but it's a full novel. And it's set like in it's even got some illustrations in it. This copy I got is in really rough shape, but
Wow, it's cool though.
yeah, it was a library
So
book.
what is it about? Khan as in
It's
Genghis Khan or something? Or
Yeah, not Genghis, but I think it's some of the other Cossacks and characters from the time. So it's kind of I guess, a light historical kind of YA title. And I think it was published in the 50s originally. But I think you had to check out a chapter book, as they called them, and it had to be from the school library. And I went after this because the guy had a sword, It's like,
yeah, why not, man? Why wouldn't you do that?
yeah.
That's great.
But yeah, I remember liking it. And it took me a long time to find a copy of it.
Well, that's great. You could remember it, and then you could actually find it. I have. Speaking of how you mentioned that, I've been looking at online for a few books that weren't like the first ones that I read. They're more like kids' books and stuff, but I remember them very fondly. There's one called Secret Agents 4 by the Encyclopedia Brown guy. I think his name is Sobel, David Sobel or something.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
and I just remember reading that. It's about like 4 16-year-olds who get involved in an espionage case, and they're old enough to drive around and fly planes and stuff like that. I remember loving that book in the library. And I looked online and on eBay's, or sorry, Amazon Marketplace, I think they wanted like 60 some bucks for the hardback. And like, luckily it was republished in a paperback, trade paper or something later. But
yeah, I think this thing's long out of print, but I found an old library copy is what it is. But
yeah, no, those are, that's the thing. I feel I really wish I was, back in the States more frequently, because I could take advantage of some of these library sales. I hear people getting all this cool stuff at library sales and such. So, but I got plenty of books to get on with now.
Do you plan to move back eventually, or
no?
No, you're here for the.
Yeah, I think I'm here. I've been here 21 years, Larry. So I think I'm pretty comfortable here. It's a really safe place to raise kids for the most part. There's no gun violence or things like that. But I didn't have any problem growing up. I grew up in a podunk area in Washington State, maybe halfway between Seattle and Portland. So my area was pretty safe and probably still is. And I love going back. I love America, so I'll always go back. But
you have dual citizenship or
no?
Lost you. Okay, I think Jeff froze up. Chat, you'll have to let me know if I'm frozen too. He was having a little trouble with his connection earlier, so.
All right, sorry, Larry. I'm just having all the sorts of trouble for some reason today with maybe the rain's influencing. It shouldn't be. It's a cable internet, and we get pretty fast internet here in Japan. But
I had just asked you. I had just asked you if you were.
Jake just jumped in and was wondering why is this stream not going anywhere? Hey, Jake. Jake's got a great channel, Pope Mortem. I recommend checking him out. He reviews science fiction, and he's really a supporter of the community. He's a good guy. And what else we got? We got some. Oh, now if I can get, dang it. All right, here we go. Watching a comic book guy goes up against a book guy and Larry wins. Yeah, well, you're biased there, David. But anyway, that's okay. Daddy's back. Sorry, Connor. Thanks for hanging in there.
We both love Robert E. Howard, though. So.
Oh yeah, and Elric, yeah, and I like comics quite a bit. I know Jake from Pope Mortem was quite a comics reader. That's what got him into reading. And I don't know if you know Geeks Love Dogs, Paul at Geeks Loves Dogs. Larry, have you seen his channel? Yeah, he's really he's really into comics as well. And and he talked about how that got him into reading, and we should never, talk down to kids or say, hey, you shouldn't be reading that, because you never know what how that's going to turn out.
Have you read any of the Witcher books?
I haven't. I know you just picked up a couple, and I have watched. I've watched the first couple seasons, I think, but when Cavill was still involved. I don't read a lot of newer stuff. I do read some that sounds interesting. I haven't tried the Witcher books. I've heard a lot of good things about them. Have you started those?
They're actually not new. They're as old as the Elric stuff.
What? Really?
They're
from the 70s? I had no idea.
Now I think he's written some more recent, sequels to it, but yeah, it's an old series.
I had no idea. I thought it was maybe like early 2000s or something. But
yeah, I have no idea how to pronounce this guy's name though. Maybe you've heard of him.
I got to make you bigger so I can actually see it's Andres. I think it's Andre.
Let me cover my eyes. It'll
Sapowski, something like that.
Yeah, Sapowski looks like
Sapowski, something like that. Yeah. I got to catch up with some of the comics here. Now I just read grown-up books. Yeah, Jake. Yeah, your books are really grown up that you review. Let me get back to his comment. That was really funny. Yeah, he's making fun of himself because he reads a lot of cheesy sci-fi. So, which are some of the best sci-fi as far as I'm concerned. Let's see. Yeah, Heavy Metal magazine. Yeah, I remember that very well. And Epic. Did you ever read Epic, Larry?
Yes. In fact, I'm trying to get all of the original magazines. I got a little over half of the run. I think it went like 32 issues. Yeah.
Jake was saying, I mean, earlier in the stream, you talked a little bit about your channel, but you want to talk a bit more about your channels for guys like Jake and others that might not know yet?
It's mostly comic book, but it's certainly related stuff. I talk about movies sometimes and prose books. I'm always reading a prose novel. So of course, at a much slower rate than my comics, but, but yeah.
Well, you have a massive library, Larry. Yeah. And Jake, do you remember that when we're doing because Jake was one of the instigators of the Show Us Your DAWs tag, and that's how I discovered Larry. Larry showed off his original Moorcock Elric DAWs collection. Because I think do you have all 6? I think you had all 6, right?
I think you do. I had a lot more than that. I had a lot more Conan. I still have quite a few. There's a video on that if you want to look at it.
Yeah, I saw your video with your Conan books and your Howard.
I wish I had put them in Mylar when I was a little kid, but I don't think anyone knew what Mylar was back then.
No, I respect you guys for doing that, but it's such a pain in the butt to have to unopen the thing and not get any tape on the cover as you take them out and stuff. But actually, sorry, you're not talking bags. You're talking the Mylar around the I didn't know what that was until I saw David's channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Larry's got a video up there, Jake, for showing off his Elric DAWs, which I think I know you've recently in your live stream yesterday said you got some more of the Hawkmoon series. Did you ever get into the Hawkmoon, the Dorian Hawkmoon, the Jewel in the Skull, and some of those?
The comic version of Jewel in the Skull I just got, and I just read it not too long ago. I really liked it. Or I read the first volume anyway. Well,
need to make room.
I haven't read any of the old novels of that, but
David, keep it clean, David. Come on now. Well, Jim, if you want to get rid of some of your old comics and send them to my family's home in Washington State, then I'll take them off your hands. Probably. I'm not gonna. David's warning me not to go down that rabbit hole of comics, but I'm gonna try to get a hold of a few. I've been eyeballing some of those omnibuses and not Masterworks. Those are the black and white ones, right? Well,
no, they have a color hardcover Masterworks. Yeah.
So.
Uh-oh.
Oh boy. You're back. Good. Okay. Yeah, sorry guys, we've been having a little connection issues. I think I got some little stormy weather here in Osaka that's affecting my internet. I apologize. But yeah, there's I remember some things that I got into a little bit for a while in my teen years. I had a buddy who was into comics and he would show me the essentials. Yeah, I got into a little bit into Alpha Flight. So I'd like to get that Alpha Flight omnibus. And I remember reading the Micronauts and ROM, 2 of the toy spin-offs, but I really liked the comics, especially Micronauts. I thought they were great. So
yeah, I love that stuff. I have all
the essentials are the black and white. Okay. Sorry, Larry, go ahead.
I have all of the Micronauts. I was a big fan of that too. Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, but recently for some reason, I've not been as interested in the superhero comics, maybe because a little burnout of the movie. So I've been more interested in this, learning about stuff that I didn't know about, like the Charlton comics and,
there's so much out there now. And if you look, somebody's showing it off, that's what's great about YouTube, Yeah.
Well, I'm learning new nomenclature too, because I didn't know what an A-OK was other than A-OK, but so I got an A-OK, meaning act of kindness. I thought it's funny. The comic book guys kind of have their own lingo, and and then the booktubers do, I guess, and I'm sure the vinyl guys do. So, but
yeah, I think Garage Geek and me. He goes even further, but I'm trying to do kind of comics mostly, but books also, and so that's kind of difficult to try to do both, because some of the comic book people just don't care about the book part, and then some of the book people don't care about the comic book part. And then David is doing it with records also, so he adds another dimension.
Yeah, well, he does puzzles, and I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
David's very eclectic that way, which is great. That's what's fun about his channel. So, yeah, those rights issues,
yeah,
that's a problem, Connor. We
yeah.
got
That's a great series too. One of the series you can look back at, and it
thanks,
has a
Jake.
complete ending. Great ending.
What's that
Rom
one?
does.
Rom, yeah, yeah.
Rom.
That's another thing that puts me off, Larry, I guess, from some of the main heroes is that just continuing and continuing and continuing for 50 years. And
Yeah,
I kind of like the idea of a closed ending. That's why one of the ones I'm going to pick up soon is I know it's not complete yet because they haven't put out the third volume, but I want to get those Commandy uh, books. There's 2 Commandy out right now. And I like the idea that ends at like 50 something, 52, 56. How many issues were there
sounds
originally?
right. It might be 60. It's somewhere in that, right around there.
Or like low
Yeah.
60s. Yeah. So that's something I can
Mhm.
get, like the 3 omnibuses or whatever is going to cover the whole thing. I can get behind that, but, or
Yeah.
some of the stuff that's tells a single story or, you know, uh, within a,
Yeah. You're talking about superheroes. I've been meaning to do a video on it. I haven't yet, but some people ask me why I don't really read any current superhero stuff. And I think it's mostly because um,
they suck.
you reach a, well, I wasn't going to say that, but I mean, like Wolverine, for example, is one of my favorite characters, right? Well, he goes on and on forever. And I think eventually you just have to decide what are your X-Men, right?
Thanks,
Because
Jim.
they're not all going to be yours. I mean, I
Right,
guess you
right.
could try to do that, but
No, it's I understand completely why you're
yeah.
spotlighting, and I like your best comics of '84 and best comics of 1989 and stuff. But
Thank you.
I think it's a lot like music. They say that obviously some people are good at staying current with everything as they mature and get older, but a lot of us have kind of keystone types of music or bands that we got into, and when we're younger, and that's when we're really into it, and it kind of really clicks, right? So it just makes sense that comics would be the same way, right? So
Yeah. Now, I tell you one comic I think you would really
that's a
love
good
because I know
point,
you like
Connor.
I know you like the pulps and all that, the vintage pulps. This is current stuff, but Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. Have you heard of that team?
I've heard of Brubaker. I'm not because didn't he do
Okay.
some? Isn't he famous for doing some Daredevil? Brubaker.
Yes, he did a really good Daredevil run. But the stuff his creator owned stuff, his most famous is probably Criminal. It's a whole series of criminal pulp books, and most of them they have different decades they're set in, right? And I think the current one brings it all the way up to the present. But you would probably really like that, considering that you like the old pulp magazines.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. Criminal. I'll look into that. Thanks. Are you familiar with Rogue Trooper? The
I've
Eric
heard of it.
Koster?
I have not read it, but
I was bummed that they did this. I guess it was crowd funded or Kickstarted funded. There's this old pulp series of books called Fargo. It's like a men's adventure set around the turn of the century, and Howard Chaykin did an adaptation, but it sold out like as soon as Jules Burt showed it off, and it looked awesome. It was Chaykin did the whole. It was like one novel, and I think it
I have
was
not heard that. And I'm a fan of Chaykin. I love his stuff.
yeah. It was called.
Yeah.
I think it was the adaptation of Yukon Gold or something, which is set in Alaska. And yeah, if you go to Jules Burt's channel and I forgot, I'll try to send you a link later, but it looks beautiful. And he even gave it away on his channel. And I was one of the 6 in the running, but I didn't get it. I was like, ah! But
Yeah.
I would have been happy to buy a copy, but they were gone like that. I hope they do another reprint of those.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, we're losing a lot of people, I guess, but at least they popped in and stuff. That's cool. So see you, Connor. And thanks, Jake, and Jim, who jumped in. Jim's Mystery and Mayhem channel is great, too. I recommend that. He talks a lot about pulp stuff and crime stuff and comics occasionally, too. I know he sometimes shows off Savage Sword of Conan and things. So a trade of Fade Out for Jeff. Fade Out. Oh, thank you. I'm not familiar with Fade Out. What's Fade Out?
Baker and Phillips, that's the team I was talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, it's excellent. You will love it. And it's definitely a story that starts and ends. It's
Well, that sounds great. So I'm gonna dip my toe back into the comics world. I have a box back home in storage, hopefully not moldering away. It's in a it's in a Rubbermaid tote, but I have a weird grab bag of stuff in there. I have some kind of 4-issue run of Sword of the Atom, I think, and
Yeah, I like that. Yeah,
I got the Dark Phoenix trade paper, I guess it would be the Dark Phoenix one of the earlier ones that came out back in the 90s, maybe, or early 90s or something, that had the whole Dark Phoenix saga in it. And I have some Rooks and some, the Rook, not this other one, Rook, the Rook, that one.
Yeah.
And, just a bunch of stuff. One of my favorite, I've been trying to track down where it might be now. Do you remember this issue? I think it was a Marvel What If, maybe? It had the Champion. He comes to Earth and he's going to destroy the Earth unless he can find someone worth fighting him. And he fights all these different superheroes, and it's only the Thing that goes almost the whole distance. And because he's so impressed by the Thing, he spares the Earth.
Yeah.
I loved that.
Sounds a lot like Secret Wars or Contest of Champions, kind of, but in that vein.
It might, it's not I know that they had that Thing team up one, but I think
Marvel
David
2-in-1.
Yeah, the 2-in-1 . That's right. Thank you. Yeah, I've been looking at some of those too, because I love the Thing, and as David said, a lot of us when we were kids loved the Thing. So he's got a big heart.
I think another more current writer in comics I think you would like is Greg Rucka. Have you heard of him?
I have. I've read some of Rucka's novels.
Okay, I'm reading his Queen and Country now. It's a
I've heard a lot about Queen and Country. He wrote a book about
a spy series from like the early 2000s.
He wrote a book about either an assassin or a bodyguard guy. I forgot the name of the character, Atticus something, and that was a pretty good book series. So I've heard Queen and Country is good. Yeah, I don't know how long.
I'm loving it. I'm about halfway through now. Liking it a lot.
You might try his prose novels too. Those are pretty good from what I've read.
Yeah, I think the character from Queen and Country is in some of his prose novels, so I'm probably gonna have to look for those.
I think so. That sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of prose novels, I know you're really big into The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, and especially The Hobbit. Do you want to talk a little bit about how you first got into The Hobbit? And was that around the same time you were getting into comic books? Or?
It actually would have been close to the same, maybe a little before even. For some reason, the school I was in, my grade school, they had, I guess it was 16 millimeter, but they showed the Rankin and Bass Hobbit animated movie.
I love that.
And that's where I seen it to begin with. And I really loved it. I mean, I had never heard of The Hobbit before that, and it just completely blew me away and changed my world forever, for sure.
That was a great adaptation. They had Richard Boone.
I thought it was.
Travel as Smaug.
I still love it. Yeah, and that caused me to go find the book and read it, and I've since read it multiple times, And we lost him again.
Sorry.
Jeff froze again. Dang it.
Sorry, Larry. I don't know what's going on. Apologies to any viewers here.
That's okay.
It's a bummer. Anyway, you said you watched the movie and then you got in the book.
Yeah, and I've since read it multiple times and just can't get enough of it. And I guess I identified with The Hobbit for.
I know you call yourself the web hobbit on.
Yeah,
online.
I mean, I guess you can't tell in the limited view, but I'm pretty short. Pretty short guy. So I suffered for that in school. And so The Hobbit just, really made sense for me.
Yeah. Well, I love that book. And of course the Rankin Bass movie. And I loved the Peter Jackson, Lord of the Rings trilogy. And I liked the first Hobbit movie, but it was a really bad idea to drag them out.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, it was just it was way too much and unnecessary what they did there. But
yeah,
it wasn't terrible. It just wasn't as good as Rankin and Bass.
It wasn't terrible. It was. I think that if they had made them into 2 movies, which I think is what Guillermo del Toro wanted. I would have liked to see what he was going to do because he was originally set up, but he parted ways. I think the pressure from New Line Studios pushed Jackson into making 3, and it's obvious he was doing them as a job and not out of sheer love, like he did the first trilogy. You could tell he loved Lord of the Rings. So
Yeah, Peter Jackson. Yeah.
Peter Jackson. Yeah. So, So, but the book is wonderful. And so, how long did it take you to kind of move on to the Lord of the Rings? Because it's like you say, it's a really different kettle of fish, kind of.
I tried to read them back then after reading The Hobbit, and I got about halfway through Fellowship, and it for me at the time, I remember thinking, this is such a slog. There's no way I'm ever going to finish it.
There's a lot of traveling. There's a lot of walking through hills and stuff.
I mean, now it's one of my favorite parts is the fellowships, but back as a young kid, I just couldn't do it. And I actually gave away or sold paperbacks. I had the Ballantine books, paperbacks of the trilogy.
You mean the ones that were the unofficial ones that are worth tons of money now?
I don't think so. These were ones that matched the Hobbit paperback I had.
They had the Tolkien art on them?
No, it had like Daryl K. Sweet stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and I wish I still had those, but I don't. I mean, I have other editions now. I have some nice hardcovers, and since then, I went back and read all of the. I've read all of the trilogy, and I've even read the Silmarillion, which was daunting, task when I first looked at it.
Wow, you've read this. You've made your way through the Silmarillion. That's impressive. Yes. I haven't done that. I've read all the books there, but I need to reread them again. I know on BookTube they do a Tolkien Day or something, and I read the Tom Bombadil section for that last year, although I didn't talk about it on my channel or anything. But it might have been before I started my channel. Might be sometime.
That you bring up Tom Bombadil, that kills me. That you didn't have him in the movies, but they included all this stuff that wasn't there. What were they thinking, right?
Well, I know they really struggled with that. Because everyone loves Tom Bombadil, of course, but it is, and it's not that long a part of the book, really. But
and they added things that weren't there. So why would you take out things that were?
I think there is maybe one reason, and that Tom Bomb, although he, obviously the books have the same issue, is he's obviously so powerful, but he doesn't really take part in any of the. I mean, he obviously seems like he could do a lot. Yeah,
I like how Tolkien left Tom Bombadil as a mystery too, and he's never really explained what he is exactly.
But you got the sense that he's really, he's up there for power beings.
I think he's like a nature god,
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's what he intended. Yeah. Anyway, he's a lovely character, and I really wish they could have kept him. And I think they were on record of saying they really hated to cut him, but they just couldn't seem to make it work for the narrative. And they're especially the extended Fellowship of the Ring, the first movie, is just about perfect, really. So there's almost nothing I can.
I think I have casting for Tom Bombadil, but I'll probably get roasted for this.
Who?
Jack Black.
I think that's not bad, actually. If he if he kind of reined it in, his Jack Blackism. Which he's capable of doing. I think he was miscast for the remake of King Kong, but I think he would have been a good Tom Bombadil. That's a really good idea, especially with his wild beard now. His wild beardy look.
I mean, could you not see him dancing around in a forest? I mean, I totally could.
I could. I guess because I know I prefer to have non-Americans in the cast, but then Viggo Mortensen is an American, and he was amazing as Aragorn, and of course Elijah Wood and Sean Astin, they were great. So that would work. I think that would have worked. Well, I hope they don't go that way. I know they can't really touch a lot of that stuff with the kind of very slow Netflix series they're doing. No, sorry, Amazon Prime series. What is it? The Rings. What is it? The Rings of Power?
I don't have much interest in that because I feel like they've strayed from Tolkien. I mean, they had to, right?
Well, they had to,
and I don't know. I just kind of don't care to see anyone else's additions,
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm that way with a lot of things. Like when people come back and write sequels or they continue on a series or something, I'm kind of like, He might do a good
Yeah.
job, but I want the original writer.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy if someone else wants to watch it, but I just,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, they spent Amazon spent all this money on, and they have very little material to work with. So, I think they should have spent it on something else. If they're going to do it, redo in TV miniseries format, the Lord of the Rings or something, But I guess
I wonder
it's too
why
soon.
they didn't try to make a deal for the Silmarillion. I mean, that's such a huge work, and why not just
Was the Tolkien estate just too greedy? And because I think they paid didn't they pay they paid some outrageous amount of money, close to $1 billion or something, for these rights for what they.
Yeah, I think that was off the deal. I guess I don't know.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I think they're more jealously guarding the property now that the other movies came out. But anyway, I think
when the movies came out, Saul Zentz owned the rights,
right,
and then now it's changed to I think it's called what's it called?
It's some kind of LLC or something
yeah, I think it's like Middle Earth Properties or something to that effect.
And I think it's
I only
back
know
to the
that
Tolkien
because
estate, right? Isn't it?
I don't think it is anymore. At least
Really?
not the licensing for movies and games. They spun it off like.
They're going to ask a ton of De Niro, I guess, for that, and so.
Yeah. Do you know why I know about Saul Zentz?
Well, because I know he produced a lot of films, but
well, he threatened me with lawyers.
You?
Yes, because I was using at one time I had a side business working on computers.
Yeah.
And I called, and I owned webhobbit.com and webhobbit.net. And I had like some of my pricing on webhobbit.com, right? My contact information. And when they were in the planning stages, they hadn't started shooting Lord of the Rings yet. Saul Zentz went after everybody he could that had anything like that in their name. Yeah. And so I got threatening letters from some California law firm, and they eventually forced me to sell them those URLs.
Well, I hope you got some decent cash for them.
I didn't get much. I got a couple $100. I mean,
that was
I should have held out for more, but I mean, who knew those were going to be the blockbusters that they became at the time,
Well, I know the New Line didn't really, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, was a big think about them paying out.
If royalties. You type in those webhobbit.com, it flips over to Middle Earth now.
That's crazy. That's funny. Well, they seem, those studios are pretty litigious about their properties, especially if I know Lucasfilm always was, although I think they're pretty good now. I think Lucas was, if you were not making money off of something, he was all right with it. But
yeah. I mean, I was so small time. I was shocked that they even knew I existed,
Well, I'm sure it was not so much Zentz as his team of lawyers, junior partners combing over everything,
From what I've heard, he was a real piece of work. That guy. He came after John Fogerty. Did you hear that? You remember that story?
No, I did not.
The CCR guy, John Fogerty?
Yeah.
Yeah, Zentz Corporation sued him for Old Man Down the Road because he said it sounded too much like CCR. And he took John Fogerty to court, and John Fogerty won.
Good. Jeez. Some of these people in their suits, ridiculous,
Yeah, so I'm in good company, me and John Fogerty.
Yeah, you and John Fogerty hanging out. Yeah, there you go. Hanging out, being sued by Saul Zentz. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to, because I know you can't stick around for too long, Larry, but I wanted to ask a couple other things. Are there couple of questions I want to ask you, either in comic or print form? Are there some genres you just don't like, you don't take to, that you never have? And also, secondarily, are there any genres that you want to give another shot that you haven't tried much in the past and you want to try to get into more?
Well, I haven't really read any straight up mysteries that didn't have some kind of, supernatural or sci-fi element. I would probably be willing to try it if I ever get the time, like Sherlock Holmes and that sort of thing. Never read any of that stuff.
Oh, you definitely should get into some Sherlock Holmes. Yeah, I recommend. I'm a big mystery
And
guy, obviously, so I'm going to be biased for that. But yeah, I know a lot of people. My mystery videos on mystery uh, hard-boiled stuff does pretty well, but golden age detective stuff like Christie and Dorothy Sayers and stuff doesn't do so well on my channel. So, but that's okay. I'm going to still talk about them because I love them. What about
a
genres
lot
that
of
you just
espionage until
espionage?
I started reading this. So I hadn't read a lot of that. But
Yeah, a lot of the guys in this corner of BookTube have read uh, Edward S. Aarons. He's kind of this. I didn't know about him until several years back when I found one of his books. He does these Sam Durrell books. They're as good as the James Bond novels. Really, they're really good. So I would recommend him for some travelogue if you like Bond at all. David's being funny again here. You love
here,
Harlequin romances and hides them so we can't see them. We know what's funny about romances. Some of the people on BookTube have been reading and bigging up these gothics, the kind of
yeah.
gothic mysteries, and they're starting to intrigue me a bit. I used to go romance, but apparently they're more mystery than romance, really. So
Yeah, and
I'm
I think there's
curious.
a lot of fantasy romances now too that are getting big.
Yeah, romantasy. Let's not go there. But
I, I haven't read any of it, but
well, I also wanted to ask you if you were going to. I know you made a few recommendations to me, but if there was anyone else watching or watches this later that hasn't really got into comic books and you're going to recommend some key titles or key runs to newbies, what would be some of your 5 or 10 titles that you would highly recommend people check out that you think that almost anyone would get into as a starter kit for comics?
well, probably if they were interested in superheroes, I would say the Ultimate Spider-Man run by Brian Michael Bendis, which those are fairly modern. They started in the early 2000s, and so it's the pacing and everything is modern. It's not like the old comics, which some people find to be a drag because they're so wordy. And they're really, really well done. They got a lot of heart, and you can get them in like dozens of formats, from inexpensive trades to really nice hardcovers. So that
Is
I
this
would
Miles
totally
Morales
recommend.
or is this Peter Parker?
Well, he actually wrote both. He created Miles Morales, and I like both a lot. But I think I would send them back to the Peter Parker first because it rolls
Okay.
into Miles Morales if you keep reading.
Okay. That's a
Yeah,
good
that.
one. Anything else?
Well, and I think anybody that likes the pulp adventure stuff, like I was telling you, the Brubaker stuff, I think is unbeatable as far as more adult, oriented comics. I would go there. And then if you like the old horror stuff, that's all being collected now in some great editions. I mean, you've seen David show a lot of them, and I've showed some of them. You
Oh
know,
yeah. Those are on
yeah,
my list for sure. Yeah.
yeah.
The
So I think
EC
those are kind
weird
of can't
fantasy
miss.
and weird science, and there's a
Yeah,
DC horror thing that I think he was talking about that looked really
yeah. There's
good.
a House of Mystery that got collected, and some other things. House of Secrets, I think. Uh, and then another great modern writer is Brian K. Vaughan. Um, he's
Not to
done a
be
lot
confused
of,
with Michael K. Vaughn.
yeah, it's almost the
Hi,
same,
Deb.
almost the same. Yeah,
Deb's in
Brian K.
Australia
Vaughan
too.
has written a lot of really good sci-fi um, that's modern, and he's still writing today. So another one to look for. Yeah, and there's just so much. Any genre you could think of, there's some great comics, and
Well, I know
it's
there's
such
lots
a
of
huge thing now, beyond what it was when
yeah.
I was a kid.
No, I hear a lot of just straight up like mainstream novels or mainstream fiction done in comic book form. There's the whole world of manga, of course. I
Yeah,
remember things that were kind of groundbreaking in the day when I was in my 20s or 30s, like Mouse, and
yeah.
I'm trying to think of some of the other big titles like that. But well, I wanted to ask you too, because you got quite an extensive library, and whenever you show off your big hardback omnibuses and things, I always wonder where in the hell you're going to fit all of those. So do you worry about space at all? Do you have plenty of shelves? Or you how
Well,
are
we're
you?
in the room now, and I tell you, I've always said that I'm not going to grow out of this room. That they're going to fit here, you know. And I've still got some slack. I don't know if you can tell from any of these, but there's still some slack in these shelves. But
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
see
think at
a
a
few
certain
open
point,
holes there, but
yeah, I
you
think
got
at a
some
certain point,
extensive
I'm
shelves.
probably going to have to start culling. You know, it's going to have to be a thing where eventually I get rid of things that I don't love quite as much as other things. You know, I'm not
These
there
guys,
yet, but that could happen.
yeah. Yeah, I just wanted
Yeah.
to mention here what Steve from Check Your Shelf, great podcast with two old friends, and then his co-host Paul is a big comics guy, and they did Watchmen not so long ago, and of course Watchmen is really good, and that's actually one of, I think, the best comic book movies I've ever seen. I thought the Watchmen adaptation was
I
amazing.
love that.
Actually,
Yeah,
I don't
love
really
that a
like
lot.
anything else that guy has done, but that the director. I can't. I'm blanking on his name right now, but
Yeah, I think it is.
yeah,
Yeah, no,
but
I
I
love
thought
that one.
Watchmen was fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, there was actually some people complained they thought it was too, right from the panel, but I love the original book so much. That's what
Yeah.
I wanted it to be.
Well, and he made a couple of changes that actually improved on the book, I thought.
Yeah, I
The
mean,
way
some people you're just not going to please, are you? If you're
no,
too,
no, you can't. If you're too true to the source, or you're changing it too much, or it must be really
yeah.
hard to do. People, it's a different medium, you got to adapt it. So I'll give it some slack that way. But well, okay, so if this is a question for you, Larry. Maybe you've thought about this already. If you do have to cull something to make space, what do you think you would start with for culling?
Well, I think where I would first start, though, is kind of a cheat answer, but is when I originally conceived of this, I told my wife, I said, well, as I start getting omnibuses of things, then I'm going to sell off the singles.
Ah,
So, so I'll save space in that way. And I did that for a long time. I had maybe 5,000 or 6,000 issues of comics at one point.
wow.
And then I have it down to below 3,000 now. It's like maybe a couple thousand, not counting the trades and hardcovers, right? So I would probably just continue that. Like I have all of the Brubaker Captain Americas in omnibus, but I kept all of the singles just because I was just emotionally attached to them.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, well, why not? Yeah.
But I could get rid of a box this size if I sold those off. So,
And probably some of them would make some decent money too, I would guess.
and probably a little bit, yeah. So there's room to be had that way. I could.
What about these kind of reprints, or I forgot what you call the reissues of some of these comics, and
The
some of them?
facsimiles?
Yeah, the facsimiles, and also some of the giant size ones that I've seen people buying and stuff. Do you get into those at all? I was going to ask you about single issues if you even bother
when I was
anymore
buying
these days.
singles, when I was still buying singles, I was buying a lot of those. Yeah, but since I've stopped now, I try to hold out for hardcovers. Is what I'm trying to do. Yeah.
Well, we got a question from Deb here. She's asked you if you're into Hellblazer.
I really like the character. I have not read as much of it as I want to yet. I mean, I've read all the Swamp Things, the original Alan Moore Swamp Things, which he came from. So I know a little bit about the character, and I have the Garth Ennis omnibus, but I haven't read it yet. So I do really enjoy that character, but I haven't read as much as I should have.
Yeah, I don't know much about this Hellblazer myself, so it sounds like I should look into it. Deb, is this something that you're into?
I think you would like him. He's a very like an occult detective. He has some magical ability, and yeah, I think you'd like
it's
him.
a little bit like Constantine, but the Marvel version, right? So
no, this is DC. It's Constantine. Constantine is Hellblazer.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I've heard of Constantine, but I didn't know his other name, Hellblazer. So okay.
Yeah.
Well, there was the TV series that was okay, and of course the Keanu Reeves movie. Probably the less said about it, the better. Does the omnibus have them all? I really struggle with timelines. Yeah.
I don't think they've all been collected yet, and if so, you have to get them in like several volumes.
Yeah, great shirt, Black Panther shirt.
Thank you. Yeah, that's Jack Kirby, of course.
And you adore Hellblazer. Okay, good. Yeah, well, if I remember right, he's a chain smoking. I think the TV series guy was pretty accurate. It seemed like he was pretty.
Yeah. I liked him on some of those TV shows too. Yeah.
I know they brought him over to what was that spin-off series on the WB or whatever it was, where they had something of Legends of Tomorrow. Wasn't he in that?
Yes, I love that one. I know a lot of people didn't, but I really liked it.
Jenny Isabella. What's Jenny Isabella? What's that reference, Larry? I don't catch that.
I think
Steve, you want to explain that? Sorry, you might know
is
more than
that
me.
Tony Isabella's current name, because she transitioned. You know, have you heard of Tony Isabella? He wrote a lot of old.
No, I didn't. Oh, Black Panther writer. Okay, okay. Thanks, Steve. I didn't understand that one. Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty. Yes,
Yes.
she's Jenny.
Okay, I was right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. Good call. Yeah, Larry's the guy to ask. He's a comic book expert. I don't. I know just very general stuff. Deb, like most comics,
I wasn't sure that was her name now, but yeah.
2 or 3 Omnis. There are other later series. Okay, so original series was collected in 2 or 3 Omnis. David says.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah, you got to kind of piece it together.
Yeah, that might be another one I'd be interested in picking up at some time. It's money. The comic stuff is great, but it is not cheap. So when I have to decide, between buying books that I want or comics, I have to kind of pick and choose, I guess, be a little choosy there. But
so, you don't have any idea what percentage of your collection you've read? Do you?
Oh, that's a good question. Because I agree with Harlan Ellison's statement that what's the use of having a library if you've read every book in it? But I probably have read 40% of what I have, I would say, off the top of my head. It might be a little lower, a little higher, but there's a lot I have that I haven't read. And like I frequently say in my videos, about 40% of my total collection is still in the States. So I've been talking to David about this.
Yeah,
when I go back to the States this next summer, I'm looking for ways to ship those over here because my dad's getting older and I got a bunch of stuff stashed away above their garage, and I want to looking into
is that area climate controlled or
no, but they're all in Rubbermaid totes, and I've taken books out of them. When I go back, I've gone back. I used to go back every year when my mom was still alive, and I would take a bunch out, and they seem to be in pretty good shape still. But they're mostly paperbacks, but there's a lot of hardbacks, and they're pretty heavy. Like I have this great annotated Sherlock Holmes from not the newer recent one by Kiplinger, but this earlier one by Baring Gould. I think his name was something Baring Gould, but it's 1,400 pages, Larry. It's like that. It probably weighs about 10, 15 pounds or something. So that's going to take up a lot of space in a suitcase. So what I'm looking into doing, the cheapest way probably is to take it to make friends. Well, they have a shipping container company that you can rent you can send in a shipping container where a lot of people mix their shipments together in there. And if I deliver that, sorry?
I was going to suggest if you could somehow develop a friendship with a rich person who had a private jet.
There you go.
You could get a forklift and you could get all of that at once, right?
Yeah. Well, I was going to try to send it. I might do that. I might put it in boxes and bring it. If you drive it to, I think I did an estimate of 6 50-pound boxes. I'd probably need a lot more than that. But if I wouldn't have to get all of my collection at once, but I could get a big chunk of it. If I brought it up in person to the shipping company in Seattle, which is a couple hours drive north of where my family lives, then they'd ship it to Osaka, and I'd have to arrange to go pick it up somewhere in Osaka Harbor somewhere. It'd be less than $400 to ship that. So that's not so bad, right? So
yeah,
sell the heaviest.
This is where you've made your life, then right?
Yeah. What's this? What does Steve say? Come on, you can fill the whole container. Well, I can fill a big chunk of it. That's for sure. Well, that's a good point about selling the heaviest books. But my mom bought me that. I have sentimental value for that heavy and that big Sherlock Holmes annotated thing is just awesome. So I could charter a jet. Eames could charter a jet and send me books and do a live stream in Japan. Yeah. No, I think, David's joking, but David said he did a similar thing with his, not maybe books, but items that he had shipped from one country to another when he was doing mysterious work for the government overseas.
Now, here's where Garage Geek could be wrong, because some of your coolest ones might be the big heavy ones, right?
I do have some very cool, big, heavy ones that
Yeah.
I don't want to do. And I like, and as Deb says, I should do it probably because I think it's the timing is right. So I'm going to take some money out of an investment fund and pay for it if I need to, because I need to get it done. David's a spy. No, I'm joking, but he hasn't said mysteriously what he lived in Japan for a while, but he said, I shipped it from one country to another country. I don't remember which. So it sounds a little bit hinky, like maybe he had his hands in some espionage things that he shouldn't have been doing. But he has that friendly, pleasant, demeanor, but he's probably actually killed a few people in his life. Comic book fun. Hope you get your books, Jeff. Thanks. Appreciate it, Joe. Thanks. I have to check out your recent book haul too. Joe's a big sci-fi guy.
You do that, you definitely should get footage of that and do a video.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking of that. Yeah, that I would of me boxing stuff up, and of course, unboxing box one video, box two. Yeah, no. Steve, I think your comments are valid for sure. I'm definitely and David's right. I'm what I'm planning to do is anyone that I don't, the whole Marie Kondo thing of does it spark joy or not, get rid of it. I'll probably now that I know about these little free library things, I'll probably go and sprinkle some books that I want to get rid of that I don't want to ship over to those kind of places and spread the love somewhere else, hopefully. And then
right.
Oh, I see. Yeah, he's being careful. He doesn't want to get. He might have said something political. I didn't catch it. Did you say something political? I didn't catch it. Anyway, Steve, I wouldn't worry about it. But yeah, I hope to bring those over because I got a lot of stuff that would be fun to talk about on my channel. And I was doing it bit by bit already, but having a channel has kind of motivated me to get it over here a little sooner. Larry, you okay on time? Do you tell me when you have to go? Okay, so
probably soon. We'll
okay. You got 5 minutes or so. Is that
sure?
That's good. Okay. Well, I know you got family stuff with your granddaughter over and stuff you probably got to do. I wanted to ask you a couple more things that might help some viewers. Oh, Connor's back.
Yeah.
Hello, Connor. What are your recommended sources for picking up at the best price, bargains, deals, chain stores, comic book shops, online? You said you get most of your stuff online. What do you? I know David at Garage Geek uses some. I forgot what it was called. The trade place that, but he was complaining about it.
Yeah, I mean, me and him were discussing earlier about some of the problems with IST now. But overall, I still think they're the best bet. I don't think you're going to beat their prices, and most of the time they're very reliable. So
okay. So when you say can't beat their prices, what kind of discounts do they usually give?
Well, typically they're Marvel and DC, the big titles, the big companies. They're usually anywhere from like between 36 and 42% off cover.
Wow, that's pretty good.
So on a big book, that's a lot of money. That's
So there's not a lot of local comic shops or thrift stores or places you source used, or because you seem to buy a lot of new stuff because that's probably you want it to be in pristine condition. But do you you have any places in your neighborhood? I know you went to this place. What was it called that you just did your recent haul from?
I went to an Ollie's, which they're a big discounter. They don't have. Hey, Mary.
Hey, Mary.
They don't have like a regular,
nice
stocking thing. They're just whatever. So you kind of got to go week to week and just look. Another good one is Second and Charles, which my daughter turned me on to. And that's a chain place, but they have new and used, and they also take trades. And they're pretty interesting. You can find some bargains there too.
Well, I don't have much, but I think you might have remember if you were on one of the streams I did with David, where I showed a couple of the Firefly. I guess are they graphic novels? Would you call those graphic novels?
Yeah, there's adaptations. Yeah,
because they're done on purposely. A graphic novel, if I'm understanding correctly, it's done specifically not issue by issue, but for one book, right? Is that how the?
Well, if it's an original graphic novel, then yeah. But then the term is kind of became very loose over the years, and now people call collected editions graphic novels, but. And we usually, the ones that are like you're talking about, we call them OGNs, which is original graphic novel.
Okay.
To separate it from the collection.
Well, I know Steve's co-host, Paul on Check Your Shelf gets his feathers ruffled if you don't say trade paperback. You know, he's like, that's a trade paperback. It's not a graphic novel. But I guess I think it's because there's that snobbery that if you're calling it you don't want to call it a comic book because that's so we call it a graphic novel. You know, so
but you know, I mean, and there are many original graphic novels that are trade paperback and never get put into hardcover. So,
yeah. Well, it's interesting because a lot of these epic ones kind of they kind of seem like they grab from different sources because they have all these specials, I guess, and these crossover titles, and they seem to Marvel seems to do a pretty good job
to put
of
them together.
organizing.
Yeah. Some fail horribly at the mapping, as they call it. You know.
I didn't know Paul had another show, Steve. Oh, that's interesting. So, curmudgeonly, that is curmudgeonly. He's not so curmudgeonly. Paul's a great guy. He's a sweet guy. He just emailed me and said he wants to send me some books. So, you know, how great is that? So I said, I don't want you to have to pay for all of that, but if you twist my arm, I won't say no. But no, Paul I think it's like I said, it's because, and Steve can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's because he doesn't like the fact that some snobs think comic books are beneath them, so they want to call them graphic novels because it sounds
I don't like that. I don't care for that.
No, I don't think that's necessary either. Comic books have got a lot of okay, he does a movie review. I didn't know that. Okay, I'll have to check that out, Steve. A lot of people have gotten into graphic novels. I just didn't. I just thought that's what you called the trade paperback, right? So, but Deb here knows the difference here. Assumptions were made. I see.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, for me, the trade paperback is just simply the physical form it's in. You know.
Right. Yeah.
Graphic novel would. I mean, when I think of the classic term of it, it's something that was built as a one and done. It's not a collection of issues.
Right.
But in recent years, the terms are very blurred, you know.
Yeah. Well, I think whatever gets people into reading them is fine, you know. I mean, because if you think about the giant omnibus hardbacks you're getting, I mean, the hardbacks come in so many different sizes. Are we going to classify all the different hardbacks? I mean, you know, it's just a hardback, right? So,
well, there's hardbacks and there's oversized hardbacks. I mean, there are a lot of different terms, but
I'm sure there are. Yeah. You can go down a rabbit hole in that really well. Well, before I know you got to run, so let's talk briefly, if we can, the last few minutes of what you got planned, any events or challenges or ideas for things you got coming up that you would like to, to pimp, to publicize or anything like that.
Really, nothing pressing just yet, but I'm planning a lot of things. I have the new collection of the first 4 issues of the new Titan comic, the Conan comic they've been doing.
Right.
And they put it out in
good things about
giant. Yeah, they put it out in this giant size hardcover, and I finally got my copy in, and I plan on doing a review of that. I don't do as many reviews as I used to, mainly because of time, but I think I'm going to do that one because it looks so awesome. And
wasn't it you that showed off in a fairly recent video the original? It wasn't Ditko. It was who did the art? They were doing, maybe it was David. I might confuse it, but they put out they're kind of reissuing the original Savage Sword of Conan. Some of those special issues.
Oh yeah, I have.
And it had a special cover. Here, let me make it big.
This one in color. Yeah, this is Savage Sword, but they colored it. The inside is in color.
Yeah.
So.
I've been eyeballing that one. It looks pretty reasonable online, so I need to snag it while it's still. But I think you found it somewhere else, right? You found it at a store.
No, I got it locally at a local comic shop. I picked this up. But yeah, they're like $9.99 cover. If you can find it where someone isn't already, gouging.
I didn't know you had a hat video. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I've got a little secondary channel where I talk about stuff that's off topic, and I've showed unboxing these hats. I just started wearing a hat. So if you want to check that out, it's
what's
called
the name
Larry's World.
Larry's World. Oh, great.
Yeah.
Well, you know, there's another newer YouTuber, much newer than you. I think he's only been going for about 4 months, and he's a nice guy too. His is Larry's Legendary Library. Maybe he knew about your channel and decided to add the Legendary. I don't know, but he's a sci-fi guy. He's dude and stuff. So that's why when I did a search for your name of your channel originally, I was having a hard time tracking you down. But I definitely know where you are now. So. He loves flashlights too. What's this? You love flashlights?
Quite a few sort of. There actually are high-end flashlights. Believe it or not, it's a whole can of worms. But
yeah. Well, I'm gonna have you back on someday, Larry, so we can talk some more because I got some questions
sure.
we never got to. But this has been a blast. I really appreciate you taking the time to do it. And anyone who hasn't checked out Larry's channel, please go there. Larry's Library. He's got a lot of followers, and he did the DAW videos. I guess tag is the wrong word, but you also did. You've talked about Stephen King, I know, on your channel. You got some Stephen King books, right?
I did a Salem's Lot video where I talked about the book and the '79 movie. You know, I did do that.
Salem's Lot, right? Yeah, you got some new, really nice edition. Did you watch the newer version that came out last year?
I haven't got to yet. I was trying to get that done before.
It's good, but it's truncated. It has a really cool alternate kind of style of the ending, though, which I'm going to see it for sure. But it needs a 3-hour version. It was cramming. It was too short to cover everything.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
I could jabber it at you all day, but I know you got to go. So thanks a bunch.
Yep.
And
thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it. Love your channel. So keep going.
Thanks, man. Well, I'm having fun, so I'm going to do it as long as I have fun. So thanks a bunch. Yep. We'll do this again sometime. And everyone, please go check out Larry's channel.
Absolutely.
And thanks for watching, everybody. Appreciate you coming on. And we'll see you in another stream. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thanks.
Here, I'll put us back on this way here to finish it off. See you guys. Thank you.